Well then, that Royal Guard, pretty freaking creepy. Hunter x Hunter episode 84. This episode definitely not as hype as the last couple episodes, but there was some pretty big elements to it. First of all, the Royal Guard in general being born and coming out and just being this psycho, creepy ass woman. And to be honest with you, it kind of felt a little bit like one of those horror movies when the dude was hiding behind the bones and he had survived somehow and he was just hiding there and he was like, no, they're gonna get me. And it just really, it felt like one of those horror movies. Like, then dude is just there naked, getting his brain tweaked, and it just felt, this whole arc so far leading up to this has felt like that. And then this episode again, it just felt like some weird, twisted, cringeworthy horror movie. And that's Chimera Ants thus far in a nutshell. And this episode, nonetheless, it just really had a creepy vibe. Wasn't that fast-paced. It actually felt a bit more slower than the previous couple episodes. But we got that. We got the Royal Guard. And just seeing that this Royal Guard, if the Royal Guard is like this already, you know, doesn't have no mercy whatsoever, plays like, doesn't give a shit about anything. Just imagine if the king gets born. What's going to happen? That shit right there just has me thinking like, yo, if the arc is already simmering, it's going to be steaming once the king comes, if he does come. So, it's going to be crazy. Then, the whole thing with Kite, like, yo, Kite is on a mission. I love seeing that. Like, even in a slow episode like this, you still see he's coming as quick as possible to go over there and kill the queen before she can give birth to the king. And it's like, yo, Kite, really? Like, yo, he's just going wild with that freaking scythe that he got. He even got the ants running for cover. But the thing about it is now, which this was, I guess, Togashi's attempt as, because we've seen that pretty much they could take on the ants. You know, they were taking out these ants one after another. But now they're all, or not all of them, because I think that they're going to have a limit of who they're going to allow to learn Nen. But a lot of these ants are going to have Nen now, even when the ones that were running for cover. So when they come back and there's a rematch, shit is going to get more real. So the fights are only going to improve further. We didn't get any fights in this episode, really, for the most part. It didn't have too much action. But when the fights do come back, they're going to be even more intense and more deadly because they're going to know Nen. A lot of these ants are going to come back with a vengeance. So while the fights weren't there, it definitely was good setup for fights to come with this episode. And I can't wait to see that happen. But Kite just got me like, every episode, it's like every episode, this guy's paranoid. He must have got raped by an ant when he was younger or something, because dude is going wild. So, the whole Kite shit is just like, I can't wait to see when he finally gets to the nest, how I can imagine him just raging and going wild and just start murdering all these ants one after another, and I'm gonna love it. Now, Ramot, the dude, you know, the ant that got the Nen or whatever, I was like, this bastard. When he was saying about, yo, I'm gonna be king and shit like that. Yo, for me personally, I was looking at it as, this character is a freaking fool. He's naive. He doesn't realize. He thinks that, you know, he thought it was the shit until the Royal Guard showed up. And I love the way the camera and the artistic approach that they took to it when the Royal Guard stepped on him and put her foot on him. And it looked like a giant thing just to show on a broader scale his fear. And he was just like, yo, he had a split second. He got cocky for a split second. I'm going to be the king and everything. I'm going to be the shit. And then he's like, I'll kiss your ass. Don't worry about it. This episode overall, not the greatest episode, but it did have some pretty big elements to it. And it still overall gave you enough to feel like, okay, this was a pretty damn good episode. 4 out of 5. Not like the other episodes where it was like, you know, almost 5s. You know, both episodes back to back, but it still had some pretty damn important elements. Like, now that we got the Royal Guard, how much longer until the king shows up? And how much longer until we get to the battles with Gon, Kitawa, and Kite? Now, this arc, with episode like this, it really just gives you this feel that, unlike previous arcs in Hunter x Hunter, this one feels more shonen. It's like, kind of like, you know, they're trailing through the forest, they're trying to get to the final villain and stuff like that before it even gets there, because, you know, Kite's plan, which is a very solid plan, let's kill the queen before she gives birth to the king. But the thing about it is, they're all progressing to the point where the king might not be the only threat. If Ramo got a Nen, and when they gotta fight him again, just imagine how strong he's gonna be when he was giving them a little bit of work going in Kitawa. Just imagine the king. A lot of build-up, and it was good build-up, and a little bit progression, again, having the Royal Guard finally being born, and it's only another step closer to, hopefully, some really epic final battles with the Chimera Ant arc. Let me know what you thought of this episode. First of all, the Royal Guard. Do you think that the Royal Guard being born means that we're going to see the king very soon? Because there's only one more. I think that the chain is like there was a Royal Guard that protects the queen until the king is born. So the king is the final step. Will we be seeing the king soon enough? And also, what is your take on this whole thing with Kite's fear? Like, do you think that Kite previously had a big encounter with them? Did maybe Jing had a previous encounter with them and told Kite all about it or something? Because dude is like, he's making me nervous. It's like, what's going on? Here, what thoughts of the episode? Had a good one with this. Again, not that heavy on action at all, but for what it did deliver, it was very important, and it was pretty damn entertaining. That's all I have. I'm ForneverWorld. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you can't wait to see these final battles coming soon, because it looks like it's inching towards that way with the king and stuff, and it's going to be freaking madness. Hopefully, ideally, I want maybe instead of the king being born, I would like to see something like some of the other ants just start powering up and it's just like a crazy onslaught of them having to kill, and maybe, I don't know, Rommel could possibly get a big power up again or something. I don't know. Ideally, I would like to see that, but then at the same time, curiosity as far as the king goes is like, how strong will that be? So, I don't know. I just want some greatness, and I know Hunter x Hunter is going to deliver it, so I can't wait. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.